What's going on, Orcas? Today we're in the water discussing Turning Point USA's guest speaker, Autumn Higashi.
The fact that we are human determines our worth.
She's going to be debating students and members of the community on abortion rights. We're going to be talking to members of the community, students, and members of Turning Point USA's club. We hope you enjoy the video, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We got some students at Whatcom. What are you guys' names?
I'm Isabella.
Chavez.
What are you guys' expectations coming here to this event?
Mostly here to just see some arguments and get some different opinions on things.
I mean, I have opinions on it, so I want to understand what other people's opinions are and why.
Do you guys plan on talking at all?
No.
No.
Do you feel like in those rare cases it's religious? This is just a difference of you believe in a God and I don't. Well, first I'd like to say absolutely I believe in a God that created human beings to be precious and valuable, that he designed every single one with intention and creativity and beauty. But what we see is that this is not a religious idea, it's a scientific fact. We've talked about this. Science says that life begins at conception. 97% of scientists agree that life begins at conception, and that's a study out of the University of Chicago. That's not some little Christian university in the Midwest. University of Chicago. 97% of scientists agree. So this really is not a religious argument on whether or not it is a person. Not to mention there are dozens of pro-life organizations that are run by non-Christians, atheists, Democrats, you name it. It is not a one group of people with this one issue. I can list all kinds of people I've worked with that have very different views in the general scope of things aside from the pro-life issue. So it is not true that it is just a religious deal. But what we do see, or what I believe, is that science tells us that it is a human life, but my faith tells me how I should treat it. Because historically, this idea that human beings are worthy, that humans should be protected, that innocent humans should be protected, is largely and deeply shaped by Christianity in our culture. This idea that you are valuable, that you exist for something bigger, is a religious view. And so science tells me that it's a person, and then my faith tells me how I should treat it. Because my belief in God is that his creation is valuable and worthy of protection. Absolutely. So not all pro-life people are religious, but the fact that fighting for innocent human lives, I believe, is a religious view that's deeply rooted in Christianity. And the 10th and last lie that pro-choice people believe is that abortion is just healthcare. Just healthcare. So I Googled, what does healthcare mean? What's the definition of healthcare? It says healthcare is the improvement or maintenance of health via the prevention, diagnosis, treatment, or cure of disease, illness, or injury, and other physical and mental impairments in people. The words improvement or maintenance are very important because abortion does neither of those things. Abortion exists to end the life of a human being. Healthcare exists to preserve human life. These two things could not be more opposite. The pro-choice stance is an uneducated, unloving, and illogical position that has resulted in millions of innocent human beings dying. Every single one of those people had meaning and purpose, and we cannot afford to sit silently while the abortion industry continues to capitalize off of the desperation of women and the dismemberment of babies. For so long, the conversation around abortion has been built on statements that go unchallenged, phrases repeated so often that they feel like facts, even though they are not. And that's their method. If you've ever been to a pro-choice rally or an event, you just hear the same thing over and over and over and over. These mantras that they're trying to ingrain into your head, but when you take 1 second to step back and pull them apart, you see that the pro-choice position is not based on science, it is not based on logic, and it is not based on love. These things are not a part of the pro-choice position. It's a lot harder to silence someone who has taken the time to understand why they believe what they believe. And when you dismantle the lies piece by piece, you don't just win arguments, because it's really not what we're here for. If we were just here to debate this topic, what would change? No. What you see is the heart of pro-life people is to see these issues, and instead of automatically defaulting to killing these human beings and blaming them for the issues that exist in the world, it's to address those issues head on. When we see women financially struggling and choosing abortion because they feel like they don't have the resources to choose life, the pro-choice side is to say, hey, get an abortion. The pro-life side is, hey, we're going to build pro-life pregnancy centers all across the country so that women have access to free health care, ultrasounds, pregnancy tests, diapers, childcare, classes, clothes, pack and plays, whatever they need. Counseling, parenting classes. That's the pro-life response. And that's the difference. We understand that there are real issues in this country that make it difficult for women facing unexpected pregnancies. We're not saying that that is an easy circumstance, that women who find themselves in unexpected pregnancies are just toughing out, you're on your own. No, we've said, how can we walk alongside them? How can we support these people so that they truly feel empowered and that they never have to sacrifice the life of their child for their future, for their hopes and dreams? And this is happening in communities all across the country. Is pro-life people are seeing an issue and finding a solution without sacrificing the life of innocent human beings. We cannot stay silent. And you cannot wait until you feel perfectly equipped to speak up about this injustice. The world doesn't change because the most comfortable people speak up. It changes because the convicted people do. We need to have these conversations. We need to ask the hard questions and be willing to stand when it's uncomfortable, because there is a place for you in this fight. If we believe that every single human being was worthy of protection, that every single baby in a mother's womb was fearfully and wonderfully made, what does that say about you? It says that you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that you have a purpose on this earth, that God designed you with intentionality and creativity, that you have purpose and meaning and value. We need to stand together and speak up and protect human life. Because the reality is that the longer we stay silent, the easier it is for these lies to spread and for people to believe them. When these things go unchallenged, people continue believing the same things that they heard. Whether it was when Planned Parenthood came to their school, or the day they heard about abortion because they were scrolling on their social media. And the abortion industry is everywhere. There is a place for you in this fight. You just have to refuse to be silent, to choose courage over comfort, because you don't just want to be part of the conversation. You want to help change it. And so my hope is that every single one of you feels a conviction to speak up for the vulnerable, to find your place, to find the reason you're here. It's no coincidence that you exist in this time, in this town. You are here for a reason. And if we were to combine our collective gifts and talents and skills to work towards supporting women facing unexpected pregnancies and to fight relentlessly to end abortion, we would see progress so quick. People sit silently. They might leave a Facebook comment. I mean, the Bellingham Herald covered this event, and how many comments were there? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, like 800 comments, hundreds of likes. Did those people show up? No. Those people had a lot to say in the comment section. They didn't have the guts to show up here. And so may we use social media as a tool and not our battlefield, and may we make the people in our own community the battlefield, to work tirelessly to support them, to show up for them, to make sure that no woman is left to the abortion industry, that every single one of them knows that they are valuable, that their baby is valuable, and that there are people who love them and want to support them. Thank you.
Okay, so just before we start, we're going to act like adults, right? We're going to, keep our voices low. We're not going to scream into the microphone
I
loudly.
feel like you're being kind of sexist. I feel like you're saying
I'm not. I mean, I don't understand how that's sexist. Acting like an adult.
just a man telling a woman to be quiet.
Okay, so you offered this up as a debate, right? You said that this. This guy.
You can ask a question. Go for
The
it.
guy with that hat. What's your name, man?
It would be great.
Jonas said that this was going to be a
Yeah, it'd be great if you got to your question. Actually.
I just want to make sure that we're going to be. I want to be able to pose my question. Right.
Ask her.
So you believe that people who are raped should not be able to get an abortion because one injustice doesn't determine another. However, you want them to bear the child, right? You want them to raise that child.
No, I'm not saying you have to raise a child.
So you want the child to go into the foster care system.
That would
Do you understand
most
how
likely not be the
horrible the
truth.
foster care system is?
Tell me.
I mean, it's pretty bad.
Okay, tell me. Tell me.
I mean, would you rather suffer for 18 years of your life and end up homeless on the street, right?
Would you say
Some
that
people do not want to be alive in that situation. You put people through unnecessary suffering. It's pretty horrific. I mean, have you seen it?
So tell me about it. So are you, just to clarify, are you saying that my 4-year-old son that's at home who grew up in foster care, who I adopted last year, should be dead?
No.
Thank you. Next question.
Okay, we're doing the streaming thing again. Not a debate. Just
I'm simply passionate that some uneducated person is telling me I don't know
come
about
to
foster
my
care.
campus
I'm a
while I'm
licensed
trying
foster
to do homework and you call me
parent, and I've adopted
uneducated.
a
Is
child.
it the point
How
to
many
be
children
educated?
have you adopted? How many foster children have you brought into your home?
Into my home one.
Okay, have you adopted these children? Would you say that that child shouldn't be alive?
No, they were a refugee.
So not foster care.
They weren't a foster care, but it's still an adoption.
So how many foster children have you brought into your home?
0 because I'm not of legal age to.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that you're coming up here and saying that because somebody is in foster care or they might be placed in foster care, they're not worthy of
You're again putting words in my mouth. That's not what I said. I said the
Okay,
foster
so
care
can you
system
tell
is
me what
flawed.
you're trying to say?
I said the foster care system is flawed.
Okay, so what would the alternative be? Killing?
An abortion.
Right, so you're saying that killing a person
It's
is
not a
better
person.
than them ending up in foster care. I'm saying I disagree. I'm saying circumstances can change. And you know what? If the foster care is messed up, then why aren't you working to fix it? What
I will be
legislation
when
have
I'm
you passed?
at legal age.
So you're not allowed to, speak up for injustice, to work to change
That's what I'm
things?
trying to do right now, but you call me uneducated in my own campus when I'm trying to learn.
So you're going to rally to make the foster care system better?
I might, yeah. Or I
Great,
might become
you
a
should.
physician.
We need more people who spend time actually working to fix the foster care system instead of slapping the Band-Aid of abortion on it, and which in result doesn't change the foster care system at all. When we say, oh, we have abortion, it doesn't incentivize people to work to make the foster care system. I agree, the foster care system is messed up. I've seen that firsthand. But our solution would be to fix the foster care system, not kill all the children that might end up in it.
I agree that the foster care system is broken. However, tying that back into abortion is wrong isn't really the answer that I believe is correct. I think that there's a multitude of different things, right, that, I'm happy you've adopted foster children, right? It gives more arguments to your case. However, I believe abortion's healthcare, right? I try to share that with you. I try to share my statistics.
Right,
Instead,
and what I shared is that is an unscientific stance.
I don't believe that's an unscientific
Right, so
stance.
you're fighting with your personal belief versus evidence that I've shared. So that was my point. Is that
I try to share evidence. You cut me off and
I
make a
would
connection
love
to
for you to
racism in
provide
America.
real evidence that a baby
Is
is
the
the woman
CDC not real evidence?
And what did they say? You quoted something about how pregnancy, women
I
can die in
quoted
pregnancy.
fatality statistics in pregnancy and tried
I
to
just
reference
wish
it that it
you
should be
could
the woman's choice to
understand.
undergo if they want to risk their lives or not.
I just wish you could understand that that does not prove the statement that you're making. That is an unrelated
I
statistic
believe
to the
that
question.
the women bearing the child should be able to make their choice on whether they want to keep bearing that child because it poses a significant risk to their life instead of what you think.
My point is that that piece of evidence does not prove whether or not it is a human being. So until you can provide evidence
It
that
doesn't matter if it's a human being, the established human being with
no,
a
it
soul.
does matter if it's
of-
human being, Because if it's not a human being, then this is all pointless. Then I've wasted
See,
10
I'm gonna
years of
try to
my
keep
life
making
on
this
nothing.
argument,
If
and
it
you're
is a
gonna
human
make
being,
an
we are at risk of killing
We're
millions.
screaming again into the microphone.
How are you?
Adults.
You know what? If one thing would justify rage, it's babies being murdered. So I apologize if I'm coming on a little strong. It's because I've seen firsthand of the devastating effects of abortion in our country, and somebody like you coming up here and saying, it's fine, they're not people, is an unscientific, illogical, and not true statement. So until you can provide me real evidence, like I've asked, that it is a person, I am not going to waste my time arguing with somebody that refuses to acknowledge science and logic to recognize that babies are being murdered in this country. I'm sorry.
So you don't want me to talk anymore?
Not until you can provide me scientific evidence that it is not a human being.
So you're telling me that you want
So
to come to
go
this
sit down,
campus and
get out your
defend
phone,
people?
look up when is a baby a person, and find the scientific evidence that says.
No, I really want to do my homework, but instead you're, in this campus arguing with something I disagree with, and I come up and I try
And why
to...
do you have a problem with that? Why would I not be allowed on this campus to argue?
Well, no,
Why would
that's
I
not
wanna
what,
do that?
so that's not what I said, but you don't want to have a debate or a conversation. You're just telling me to sit down again and
No,
again.
I'm not telling you to sit down. You're
That's
repeating the same
exactly
thing
what
with
you said.
zero
Go
evidence.
sit down.
Woman doesn't want to have a child and she goes through with having a child, are you pro, like for example, taking the born baby and dropping them off at maybe a fire station or putting them into the foster care system?
Yeah, we also, in the United States, you are legally allowed to place your child for adoption. And in the United States, there's over 2 million families who are waiting to be placed with a newborn baby. So this idea that there's too many babies in the world and we need abortion because there's just way too many kids is actually not true. We actually don't have enough babies. And the evidence is in all of these families who would love to adopt a newborn baby but can't.
You talked about those rare cases where women end up pregnant because of rape or there's a high chance of death during the pregnancy. Do you feel like in those rare cases abortion should be an option? No?
In instances of rape, what I would say is oftentimes abortion is presented as a loving and compassionate response. The reality is that abortion does not undo the trauma of rape, it adds to it. What we've seen is the physical and mental repercussions of abortion are damaging to women. So when we see a young girl that has been abused, abortion is only adding more trauma to that circumstance. But I would also say that the compassion that leads somebody towards wanting to protect this child, and rightfully so, is the same compassion I have to protecting the other child that we're talking about. Because there are 2 children in this circumstance. So if you have a deep desire to protect children, of course you would want to do whatever you can to ease the situation for this child. That is the same compassion I have for that child and the baby that has been created. And so what we need to recognize is that our worth is not determined by circumstances of conception, and a child should not pay the sins of their father. And it is a tragic situation, and there's absolutely physical, mental, and
On your point that we don't support mothers enough in society, we need more resources for them and a better sense of community. But more back to the sanctity of human life, I was wondering your stance on the death penalty.
so what I will say is personally, I am not in support of the death penalty.
We got some students here that are very passionate about today's event, and do you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, I'm Franklin.
Do you guys all want to be in?
Yeah, my name is Dahlia. I'm a student at Whatcom.
Hi, my name's Natalie, and I'm a student at Whatcom.
I'm Beetle, and I'm a student at Whatcom.
I'm Jason. I'm a student at BTC.
Now, do you guys feel strongly or passionately about anything that was said today?
Yeah, I just feel like the speaker, I think a lot of the points she brought up, she only really tended to bring up evidence that benefited towards her and failed to address a lot of the counter arguments and evidence that may have gone against her, specifically concerning things like issues of rape, and only really talking about people who benefited from keeping their child that was as a result of rape, as opposed to talking about the experiences that may have negatively reflected that and what it is like carrying a child of rape and how that can often be re-traumatizing towards the mother, and overall just failing to address a lot of issues surrounding rape, and also how oftentimes rapists can benefit actually from baby trapping women essentially by keeping them in a place where they are physically and mentally at a disadvantage.
I actually agreed with the speaker when it came to issues like how society treats mothers and how mothers, especially in America, severely lack resources, both to take care of themselves and to take care of their children. But when I raised the issue of how we could improve these resources and better support mothers without government action, and I brought up the point that I don't think we could do that without socialized healthcare, she simply said that it was a bigger conversation than we could have today, and I found that a little bit dismissive considering I'm just asking her a question right here, right now. It felt that she was somewhat unable to answer. What's socialism? What's socialism? Can you answer my question? What's socialism? No, I'm simply
Canada.
Yeah,
Okay.
Canada isn't socialist. They actually use a capitalist mode of production.
Into the death rates.
What's socialism?
Socialism works on paper.
What's
only.
socialism? Can you define it?
Socialism works on paper
You can't define it, can you? No.
Socialism only works
Is
on
Canada
paper.
socialist? Do you actually think Canada has a socialist mode of production?
Can you please answer the question?
You don't know what socialism is, sweetie. You can't define the word. What is it then? What is it on paper? Oh, you don't know.
What is your evidence?
You don't know. Like that. She couldn't define socialism.
Did today's event meet your guys' expectations coming into it?
Yeah, I thought this was exactly what it was going to be. I actually started attending Whatcom Student Senate meetings weeks before this because I had learned that TPUSA was approved as either a club or an association here. I forget which one. And I was shocked that the Student Senate approved it. So I've been seeing what the TPUSA has been up to, and I am wildly uncomfortable that this event was allowed on my campus.
It was definitely what I expected it to be, and I definitely agree with Dahlia. I was very surprised that TPUSA was even approved here, especially because of the high amount of immigrant students we have. We have a lot of racial diversity here, a lot of like LGBTQ plus people, trans people, and I feel like it was just very like out of left field almost. But it was definitely what I expected it to be.
I agree with their points. It's very disappointing seeing how many people here actually support this stance and support this club, especially again with all the LGBTQ folk, whatever, just the people that come here. I'm just very disappointed.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. We've got some members of Turning Point USA's club at the school. What are you guys' names?
Hi, I'm Gwenna Schwant.
And I'm Elizabeth Heidersdorf.
Did your expectations, were they met coming into this event?
100%. I mean, my expectation was just that we were going to have conversations, seeing people's perspectives from either side, and we definitely got that. We got debate from both people that were passionate about pro-choice or about pro-life, which was just great to see that conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, it exceeded it for me. I didn't really know what to expect going into this because it's kind of a new event that we've had at Whatcom. And so I was just like, honestly, if we got the event to the point of it happening, that was enough for me. So the fact that people actually showed up and actually wanted to talk and have open discussions and even some debates just really blew my mind and made it all the more special.
Were you at any time surprised or, I guess the word I'm looking for is bewildered by any questions from both sides?
I mean, honestly, not too much. I definitely know that obviously, like, I know a lot of arguments from the pro-life side, but when it came to arguments from the pro-choice side, I think a lot of them were ones that I had heard before, and I think Autumn addressed them very well and did bring some points that I had not heard before from the pro-life side, and so I guess that was new, like hearing some new responses or rebuttals, but yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of research, and I'm really into abortion and supporting the pro-life side. So none of the arguments really stood out to me, but just hearing Autumn kind of cover the pills that are being sold all over America, just that people are having abortions on their own without going to a place like Planned Parenthood. I wasn't aware of any of that, so that just really stood out to me as something that I learned from this event myself.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
We got Turning Point Chapter President
Jonah Anderson.
Now, Jonah, what were your expectations coming into this?
My expectations for this event was I was hoping for some civil debate hoping for some conversation between people, and just really a productive time where people could just learn from Autumn, learn from each other, and just learn more about this topic that divides so many people, because topics like these divide and they don't really encourage conversation much. So I wanted to be that light for the conversation.
How did you originally come up with the idea to have Autumn Higashi come and speak?
Yeah, so Autumn Higashi, she goes to my church. She's a great woman, great lady, great conversationalist, and I knew her from the beginning when I first started going to my church, and I knew what she did, very active in the pro-life movement, 40 Days for Life in front of Planned Parenthood, and kind of my first introduction to, politics, standing up for pro-life, and my standpoint, pro-life, and, just knew her from the beginning and knew it was the right thing to do.
At any point were you bewildered by a question from either side, or how did you react when you heard kind of a question that is unorthodox? How did you react to that in your head?
Oh yeah, I mean, any question at all, I reacted with positivity in my head, even if it ended up getting shut down, because I just want people to get better at having debate and having conversation. And that doesn't mean that people are going to have perfect responses. That doesn't mean they're going to have perfect questions. And I think it's a skill that people need to develop. And every time I heard somebody come up to the mic, no matter if I thought it was a good argument, good question, bad question, I was very thankful that people were willing to interact with Autumn and be vulnerable, really. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what students should know about Turning Point? Because from what I've talked to some other students, they were initially not aware that Turning Point was a club at the school. Can you tell some students just kind of what you guys do and how they can kind of go about having coexistence?
Yeah, for sure. So Turning Point, I can't speak on behalf of Turning Point because they are a bigger organization, so I'm not a spokesperson for them. But Turning Point, they just seek to have conversations, have debate on campus. I mean, that's what we're trying to do under Turning Point's name, is we're trying to have conversations with people. It's a nonpartisan club, so just mainly encouraging people into politics, talking about current world events, and just getting conversations started and learning from each other. I think that's a skill that we've lost, and Charlie said when violence happens, or when people stop talking, violence happens. And that's an incredibly important quote for us in Turning Point.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Wow. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Remember to tune in to The Horizon for everything campus-related and community-related. Love ya.